Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the single player Let's Play series. So I've been doing some off-camera crafting, not much, just got a little bit prepared for this episode, so I went ahead and got a dimensional chest and an induction smelter. I also put some girders down here to help support the chute, and I think from this perspective, from all perspectives, it actually looks way cooler. When you come right here and look at it, you can see it's a little bit lame looking, but even then, it's somewhat believable that this is part of a large scale shoot system. So I'm okay with that. I think it looks pretty cool. I hope you guys agree. We'll see though. And this is the crafter for that shoot, which is convenient because I need to set up 3 crafters right here. So I don't even have to run any network cabling at all. All I have to do is run some power cabling for this, which should come from here-ish. That works for me. And at this point, we're kind of running into a sort of similar issue about running out of sides for a block. So we may have to figure out how to do that. But I'm getting everything ready for our 3-machine automation pileup. So that's going to be the pulverizer and 2 induction smelters, if you'll recall. So if we go ahead and grab some more pipe. I always look for cable, but they're just called pipes. It's from the mod called pipes. We're going to do our cabling, I think there should be fine. And then we can run that down. Actually, we don't even need to run down. Ooh, this is getting kind of spaghetti-y. I wonder... it looks like we can do some cleanup here, so maybe we should do that. I don't remember. Does the wrench from... No, okay. It looks like the wrench from refined storage does not actually serve too much purpose. And that's okay. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. Does just depend based on the implementation. I actually lost some cabling there too, actually. Huh. Interesting. Not a big deal. This is cheap. 2 cable, 2 blocks down, or 2 spots that I brought 2 blocks down. Never mind. I didn't lose cabling. I'm just dumb. Cool. So that handles that. Now we can just make this a straight shot across, which is exactly what I'm going for. Trying to unspaghetti some of this stuff a little bit. So we'll just have this come across like so. Beautiful. And I'm just going to use that crouch key to my advantage, like always. Everyone always loved Morph for being able to turn into a bat. Well, I've always loved crouching in the latest versions of the game just because you can do the same thing, but just using a built-in vanilla ability that some other mod has so kindly bound to a key binding for you. It's one of my favorites. Anyways, we've got 2 induction smelters, and we have 1 pulverizer. These will all get power when they're hooked up. And I'm going to clear the inputs on all of them for now. The way I think the inputs are going to work is, you can see I've got crafters behind all these, right? So more than likely what we'll do is we'll have input on the back, and then output on the top, and we'll just set up a pretty pipe to get all of our outputs out and put them into another dimensional chest. I know I've got one like right over here, but it's just way easier to have multiples of these. And since they're solid cubes with very few polygons, unlike ender chests, you can have thousands of these and barely notice a dip in your game. So game performance should not be a concern whatsoever. Now, one thing I am interested in learning is whether or not it would be feasible to just do this, if outputting to the top with auto output enabled will work. So let's figure that out on our own. Let's grab some quartz, put a stack of it in here. That does not seem to be pulling, no. Okay, so that's not a problem. We're gonna grab some extraction modules. Let's grab a 3rd one. And you know what? We should just teach it how to craft these. We should really just teach our system how to craft these. So let's teach you how to craft that, how to craft this, and we're going to use birch planks because that's what we have constantly on supply. So we're going to do that. And then I want you to know how to make these blank modules if you possibly can. So let's go ahead and do this, this, that, that, And then I think I can handle the upgrading part on my own. As it happens, we're out of supplies or we're out of crafters. So let's go ahead and request another crafter. We should have everything here if I just hit Control Shift. Right, wrong device here. Oh, wait, we do have an extra grid. Let's go ahead and take that guy and put it right here. Go ahead and dye it white so that it matches. And now, if I requested another crafter, let's do the right sizing, medium, JEI is 2 ways, so crafter, order by ID descending. And if I do Control Shift and then click on this, it's going to automatically request everything that I'm missing. You can see almost everything filled itself out on its own. Right now, it's waiting on that one smelting recipe, I would imagine. So there we go. And now we have another crafter, automatically crafted. Kind of powerful, kind of insane how cool that is. So now if we grab a extraction module, we can just ask for them anytime now. And so to do the tier 2 is super easy. Again, these I don't really mind doing manually. And I like the highs because not only are they fast, but they're also very accurate. They don't overflow, usually. So yeah, I am a huge fan of these. So let's do extraction modules into our dimensional storage here. So we'll do that, that, and that. You should start to extract, yeah? Did I misconfigure something here? What is happening? I wonder if it's considered locked because there's something on top? No. I'm definitely confused about this one. Can it not? Do you have to have that, I wonder? I mean, I can't say that I really care either which way. Let's try some cobblestone. Extract module down, pulverizer. That's weird. That was acting kind of weird. I wonder if it's confused because of the weirdness that, there's some, I wouldn't say it's weirdness, but the inventory mechanics of thermal are a little bit, not odd. They're just like modern day mods. We expect to see configurable interfaces, right? But like, that's not something we see so often anymore, or that we used to see, and it's not something that we're like necessarily 100% capable of handling right now. So I'm wondering if that was just maybe a rendering issue or something. Now, I have this idea. We've got some slag, and I have, you'll see, this is going somewhere, but I've got a good bit of slag, and I like this chiseled slag texture a lot. There's another slag texture I also really like. Right, the round robining only really worked on one of those. So if we get out our stonecutter, no, it's not the stonecutter. It is this. There's this slag brick texture that I also really like. And so I think I'm going to cover all of this up. And unfortunately, by doing so, you can probably already figure it out. We're going to run into an issue where we cannot access our crafters anymore, which is not ideal, as you probably can imagine. So we're going to come up with a mechanic to be able to work around that a little bit. So I'm just going to cover these up like so. I think that this is kind of a cool little texture to mix in here with these automated machines. And I may go ahead and do, I think we have some lamps or lantern blocks that look decent. Ooh, a rose quartz lamp is actually one that I haven't played with at all. That could be really fun. Let's do that. So we're going to need rose quartz. And of course that means we're going to need sandpaper. Easy enough. So let's go ahead and make some sandpaper real quick. Ta-da. And now we can make a couple of these. And we'll just do, for you, we can just do a lever. For the other one, we may have to do something a little trickier. I'm not sure yet. So we'll just do lever there, put you there. You may need an update. There we go. I don't know if I like that as much as I thought I would. I don't know. There is something else that we can do, another mechanic that I like to use. If there is a block that we think would make a good lamp texture, that we maybe don't... that maybe doesn't emit light. Let me see about lantern or glow. I mean, yeah, of course there's the glow textures, sure. But if there is like, Architect's Palette has a handful of these. If there's any textures here that you think would look good, you can do what I think I might end up doing. I'm still trying to decide. We haven't really played with sun metal at all. That could be interesting. Maybe make like a stack of that and give that a try. I'm just trying to come up with some interesting colors and textures to use in these areas. So I forgot, I did already show you guys this in the last episode, but I might try doing something like this. I wonder if that's, because I'm hoping to make like a nice little gradient in the colors between this, and I feel like this works. I'm feeling like that doesn't work as much. I mean, we could just use more slag, actually. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Slag has a couple of cool textures, right? So there's just like the base slag texture on its own, which is not bad at all. And then, of course, there's that chiseled slag texture that I've been using a couple of times. I might just go ahead and toss one of those down and see how that goes. And then we've got, go and take that out, and I'll just consolidate these. And we'll try some of the different slag variants. So I think I found a combo that I like a lot. So we'll do that again. And then just the plain slag seems to work pretty well. Now we can kind of sell ourselves on this setup a little more with like different decorations across the front to sort of glass these in. You know, y'all know at this point probably pretty well that I'm a big fan of doing stuff like this so that we can't actually access these machines, which I think is, you know, it's all right. In this case, I do think it's a little bit overkill, so I'm not going to do that. But, you know, it's always an option. Anyways, so you may be wondering still the question that I sort of left you guys with earlier, which is, how am I going to access the crafters now that I've blocked them? Because, you know, you need to right-click on the crafters to actually put stuff in them. So how am I going to manage something like that? Well, the answer is actually pretty straightforward, and that is a crafter manager. So a crafter manager here, this guy, is relatively straightforward. I need to teach how to do crafters automatically, but honestly, that's not too terribly bad. I'm going to make that same request twice because we can, and that's going to help us a little bit with our speed here. So, let's grab that. And then let's go ahead and do another one of these, like so. And then combine everything together with another Control-Shift-Click. Gonna make up a couple more of those, I imagine. These are still pretty slow. I'm wondering if, like, 2 of them with bellows would be any faster. I don't know. I have some thoughts. I have some curiosities here. I'm also wondering if it might be better to do bellows on the bottom and then do entangled blocks to get the items out. I don't know. Let me know what you think about getting that going faster. But the crafter manager is sort of our ticket to success here. And you can see there's even a quest for it. So this guy, and I'm going to start putting these here, including the pattern encoder, because this guy's kind of a pain. It's kind of a pain to go downstairs right now because of the slow elevator. And I've got a reason why I'm kind of slacking there, but I just don't really feel like dealing with it at the moment. So my thoughts here, whoops, I did not want to break you. My thoughts here are we could always put that maybe here. Goodness me, this drill is too fast. And let me come down here really quickly and go ahead and take that. I will leave the crafting grid down here though, because that is helpful to have. Let's see, so go ahead and set that to medium, JEI synchronize, 2-way, sort by ID. That's just helpful to have down here. And I would like it to be somewhere better, but it's not right now, so be it. Who cares? But what I would like to do is have these two set up here. So let's grab another cocoa bean. I also have to set this back up. So medium, sorry, JEI, two-way, order by ID. And then the white grid here, we will recolor. I will get a nugget, and we'll make a cover, and we'll get some cables. Was it medium or large? I think it might have been large that I liked more. So now that we have those live and running, we should be able to do that. That looks good. You can't even tell, because I did kind of make a mistake and didn't leave myself a lot of space in between those two floors. It's all right. We'll be fine. But it's sort of a nuisance. We'll see, though, how much worse it gets. But if I right-click here on this brown Crafter Manager, you'll see every single device we have set up. This is what makes the Crafter Manager so incredible. I'm going to make this sized probably large. I never really like stretch. And if I want to search for something like, I don't know, crafting table, this is going to search not only the name of the item crafted, but I think it'll also show you the name. No, it won't. Barrel. Thought there was a way to show the name of the device, but seems like I was wrong there. But if I wanted to see all recipes for glass, I can just search that as well. And if we're wondering why it's showing the sand, for example, we can just take a look and see the very last one in that tooltip had the pound supplementaries : hourglass _ sands, and then the glass in the hourglass is what's triggering the $glass to find sand. So that seems to be sort of the solution to our problem, at least as far as I can tell. I like this size just fine. And now we can access all of the crafters that just have recipes in them. We can also access all of our smelters, all of our other devices, etc., etc. So I think that is pretty dang good. We also get a quest reward for that, because that is a very critical point of juncture in this pack. Being able to autocraft like we are now, this is what's going to make the rest of the pack feel a little bit less miserable. There's going to be some resource gathering you're still going to have to do. All the same and usual devices and attributes to the game, but there are also a lot of things that we can simplify, such as iron, such as crafting, etc., etc. So, one of the things that I think we can do is start getting some of our thermal expansion recipes configured and set up over here, because I do want to get that going. I want these recipes to just work. So the only recipe that I'm going to have to teach my pulverizer is how to make quartz dust. So we're going to go over here and encode quartz dust. So if I do this right here and just encode, then come over here to my pulverizer and put that in, if I come back over here, look what's now available for crafting. Quartz dust. And if I make 30 of them and then run all the way over here, as if though by magic, but actually though by technology, it's automatically working its way up. So I have augments that I want to start making. The augments are a little bit spicy to make, but I want to get them all the way up to their highest tier. And with all of our induction smelters and our abilities to autocraft, I think that's going to be reasonably doable. So, taking a look here, we're just going to kind of work out of the workshop for now, because that's going to be really easy to get everything that we need to get done. We're going to need Invar. Invar is, of course, that alloy that we've seen several times before, and we can make that in the arc furnace. I know that a lot of things can be made in our induction smelter now. I get that. But we have this giant monstrosity in our base, and I'm going to keep on using it until I just literally have no further use for it at all. And that, I don't think, will ever be the case. Speaking of things I may not have use for anymore, steel. Steel can be made in the arc furnace. And coke dust is already... Okay, we can make that already using our current set. So I think this guy here is the next to go. So I may tear that down here in the next coming days. I was just realizing that now. I was like, hang on. That guy can probably get out of here at this point. So if we go ahead and make one of these hardened integral components, that's going to upgrade our machine by a scale of 2. If we go to the next tier here, you'll see that that's going to upgrade it to a scale of 3. And so we can take our reinforced integral components and go up to the highest tier that works on machines, and that is the resonant integral components. Now, in a recent pack update, I added in Desh Ostrom, and Calorite integral components. These, however, are so powerful and have such a high internal capacity and internal functionality that these don't actually work on normal flux devices. You have to apply these to the specialty advanced generator devices, and these are the ones that are going to be capable of handling them. So in general, that's just sort of how you're going to manage to get use out of those. Right now, we only have to worry about these three, which is really easy for us. We are going to need more electrum, so let's go ahead and pull up that recipe. One tip that you may have noticed me use is if I look for something that isn't a crafting recipe, JEI is still going to try its dangest to try and fill this recipe out. So if I hit move items, it's going to at least try to move as many items as it can. In this case, that happens to be the two inputs that I needed. So rather than having to stop and search silver, pull out my silver, stop and search gold, I can just do what I just did. And then if I need more, which I do, I need quite a few more. In fact, let's look at how, so we have 3 electrum and we're going to need 12. I can do shift scroll wheel down. So I'm going to scroll down while holding shift and hovering over the gold ingots to pull more gold ingots out of my system. And that way I haven't had to search for anything else except for the electrum that I needed. And that handles that all on its own. And now we don't have to worry about it. So that's one of my favorite little pieces of advice that I can offer at this stage. I've never run my arc furnace this highly parallelized, and we seem to have the throughput for that now, and that makes me very happy. Anyways, so we are going to still need some signalum, and so signalum can be made pretty much exclusively either from blend, like so, or from the induction smelter. So I am going to go ahead and use the induction smelter. As you can see, I'm going to use that same exact tactic. So if we're going to need, this makes 4 ingots, we're going to need 4 for 1 gear. We need 6 gear, so we're going to need 24 redstone. We're going to need 6 times this recipe, 18 copper, and 6 silver. And because we have 2 induction smelters at the moment, I'm just going to split that up across my 2 induction smelters. To help speed things up a little bit, I'm also going to put my my integral components. Hardened is the adjective here, not integral. Well, they both are, actually. And that's going to get me that Constantin a little bit faster. Not Constantin, signalum. Sorry, the other orange alloy, of which there are dozens. So if we look at signalum, you'll see now we have 8. If I toss these in the belt system to make them into gears, we will have gears. And so now we can go ahead and start upgrading our others as well. We can go ahead and take out one of these. Well, we can just use the one we already had. And swap this one out. And that's going to make it, you can see, even faster than it was before. So we just repeat this process a couple of times. And we'll eventually get there. Eventually. It does take some time, as you can see. But in the end, it ends up being quite worth it because we get a significant machine improvement overall. So that is the reinforced. And then there is one tier above that, which uses the enderium that we made in one of our previous episodes. Lumium, which is just another alloy here, as you can probably already guess. And then we would also need, let me go and bookmark that. We'll also need the hardened glass. And so this hardened glass is just another alloy. All right, so I'm at the point now where I think we can probably start to teach our induction smelter some recipes because there are only some recipes. There's some recipes that can only be made in the induction smelter, so I don't want to hold off on implementing their automation because at this stage, there's no sense. It's the induction smelter is as good as it's ever going to get, so we may as well teach it some of these recipes. The lumium ingot recipe is probably one of the biggest ones because these combo alloy ingots are sometimes the biggest pain to do manually just because you have to get the proportions right. So if I can automate that, I'm going to. I think the same goes for enderium. There is obviously the necessity for diamond dust, which we'll get to eventually. We can also teach our pulverizer that because that is the only way to do that. So I think we're going to be okay there. We already did hardened glass. These are the 3 major alloys, so I think that's good. I'm going to come over here to my induction smelter, and I'm going to distribute these recipes as evenly as possible because I don't want any one of them to be clogged up on a process. That said, I also want to do refined storages items that are done in the induction smelter because that is also important to me. So we want to look at not only the quartz-enriched iron recipe, but also the silicon recipe. So we're going to do that. And once again, I'm going to separate these so that the recipes don't block or conflict with each other at all. And I'm going to put these on the end just for the aesthetics here. So now if I wanted to look at getting the resonant integral component upgrade, you can see that most of these things are going to be pretty automatable for us. So if I look at getting, we're going to need 24. So let's get 24 lumium. That's just going to go ahead and handle all the proportions for us completely automatically. I'm going to come over here and rush process the metal crafting just because we should and we can. In the meantime, let's get that diamond dust recipe encoded really quickly. And if we look at diamond dust like so, that's pretty much it. And once again, this is one of those recipes that can only be done in the pulverizer. Otherwise, I would be using my crushing automation that I'd already set up. And the crushing automation is going to come in more handy than you would know, because right now we're only doing this for recipes, but I can also configure this to automatically export certain ores to come here and get processed. And then we can do the same thing to automatically export certain ingots to come here and get, or certain dust to come here and get smelted into ingots. So we have a lot of option here. I think it'll definitely be helpful to start getting automated very soon. Because this can be one of the pain points of this pack is definitely like just not getting enough resources quickly enough. So I do hope that we can sort of, you know, avoid that as much as we can, at least for the sake of the Let's Play, to avoid having to do a lot of off-camera work, for example. So that is the last of our lumium craft that I requested. If we look at the resonant integral component recipe now, we should have pretty much everything we need except for the hardened glass. So let's go ahead and get 6 hardened glass. Once again, that's going to go to an induction smelter. As it happens, it was just this one. That's fine. We're good there. And so now we can start looking at making these. I'm going to go and request some more enderium. Let's get like maybe 24 made. That's just going to be 6 diamonds, so that's not too terrible. Our diamonds are going to start to get crafted up, as you can already tell. That's not even waiting for us. I'm going to put this upgrade in here, and then our diamond crafting is going to go even faster. And then if I go ahead and grab your integral components here, we can put that right here and get you upgraded to the resonant tier as well. And that is going to help, of course, on its own. The flux linkage amplifiers would also be a great help, so I'm going to go ahead and bookmark those. I have, however, made those already, so I'll probably do that off camera. But this is auto crafting with thermal, already done. Not too terribly complex, and that covers the greater part of my concern going into refined storage's larger components, which is reborn storage. So for a reborn storage crafting frame, we would need, let me think, we need 2 3x3s with the center out, so that's 16, and then we would need 1 for each corner, so that would be 4, and we need 2 layers, so that's 8. We need 24-ish of these crafting frames just to make a base tier crafter. So we probably should start crafting or planning out the size of this frame, because I'm thinking about doing a 5x5. So we all know that that would be 16 blocks just for the top and bottom. And if we do 3 here, that's going to be 3, 6, 9, 12. And then 16 times 2, so 32, 44. Looks like 44 edges that we'll need. So I'm going to go ahead and get most of the stuff kind of handled, but we're going to need 44 of these. Let's just preview what that's going to cost. That's going to cost 30 improved processors. So that's 30 gold ingots, 30 of these processor bindings, 38 silicon, 256 quartz enriched iron, and 32 stone. That's going to be a process. If we wanted to check in on this process, we could do a crafter at refined. And then that is the, what is it called again? What is it called again? Not the manager, the monitor. This crafter monitor would be a good go-to for this. Unfortunately, I think we may be blocked until that last recipe is done to get these 2 little cells that we had because, well, that's just how it is. Let's see if I can maybe steal them. It's going to make my system mad for a moment, but that's all right. There we go. So with those 2 here, we can do a crafting monitor. And if I grab more bone meal, make more white dye, as you know, because that's just my go-to color right now. Oh, wait, no, we're doing cocoa beans over here. That's right. I forgot about that. We could put this here, and we can see the recipes that we're waiting on. Right now, it's waiting on 2 of these. So we're just going to cancel that, because we're not going to actually be waiting on those anymore. And at this point, we can also go ahead and destroy the cabling here and over there, because it is not at all necessary anymore. And I can go ahead and grab some more of those to put back in that space. So anyways, I know that this is going to be a bit of a shorter episode, but frankly, I think we're kind of getting closer and closer to the reborn storage phase here, that I don't know how much more we really need to do. You can see the recipe's already done, though. That's exciting. So if we grab those, we're getting there. If we're going to have 3, 4, 5, 9, or 5 3x3 platforms, you're going to need 45 of these. And then we're going to need a whole bunch of other resources as well. You can see we have already run out of our silicon at this stage, and we're going to be making ours from scratch here. So as unfortunate as that is, that's just sort of the way it is right now. So I might try to distribute these one at a time to here and here, and I'm going to make some of these off camera. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed. I am going to quickly, actually, I just realized, I'm going to go take a look at the capacitor. I want to make sure that that capacitor is doing kind of okay, because, you know, we have several different accumulators along our pathway, and I want to make sure that it's doing all right. So this accumulator right here, actually, yeah, legitimately doing just fine. I'm wondering which one down here might be suffering, though. Because we've got this one over here. Well, 2 of them, really. Oh, I can't even get close to reaching that. Let me see real quick. Yep, so you can see we have started to stress this accumulator here just a little bit. We're missing 3.77 million FE. These are still generating, so I'm not really concerned about our generation right now, but we might have to start looking into some advanced generation in the future. That's coming pretty quickly, actually, and with my next couple of things that I want to do kind of already planned out and premeditated, I'm feeling like... Yeah, I'm feeling like these machines are going to end up sucking up way more power than we can afford in the long run. I'm kind of concerned about that. Just a wee bit concerned. But we can always... This is what I really like about the crafting monitor, is we can go over here and just take a look at the monitor status and see what are we waiting for. What is happening? And you'll see every now and then a little red exclamation point will show up, and that's just telling us, hey, this machine is already currently in use, so we're having to wait. But you can watch all the processes here, and it's super cool. We can cancel them if we want to cancel them, if we did something wrong, if we made a mistake, if we broke a recipe, if we stole the outputs like we did before. But yeah, I think right now our bottlenecks are energy and these guys, which is fine. They're fine for now. We've got 3 of them, so, you know, I can't really expect much from them. Bellows would probably help. I don't really know what else would. So yeah, I'm tempted to set those up really quickly just because that would be really easy to do. 3 bellows. I know I mentioned that I wanted to wrap up the episode, but I also would like to have this in a slightly better working state. So let's see if we can do that. The bellows do help pretty significantly. So if we grab 2 more of those, we'll grab that one, and let's do a redstone block. I don't like transmitting energy through blocks. It's kind of annoying. And let's grab 3 entangled blocks. These recipes are not very tough for the entangled blocks. There's a little bit of gatekeeping behind them for getting the steel first. But, I mean, honestly, I feel like if you're running into a I don't have enough sides for a block problem, then you should not be punished for that all that terribly harshly. It doesn't make sense to me to punish the player for not having enough sides on the block. Because sometimes you do just want to do that one crazy automation, and you should not be dissuaded from doing so. Anyways, let's grab these hoppers and take them out of the picture for now. That's going to make things mad. We know that. We're not surprised by that. I'm avoiding breaking this because, remember, it's got my 1 piece of glowstone on it, and I don't want to lose that. As such, I am going to make sure you are rotating into you. I don't know if that's any faster, to be honest with you. I guess the world may never know. We can go and break that as well, because we'll need that elsewhere. And we'll rotate you. Yeah, you must be facing the right way. Good to know. If I put you there and just kind of sneak, I guess. Maybe break this real quick. We can do that. And so now all three of these will be running and will be bellowed. So I put this in here. Oh, that is much faster. Oh, yes. I do much prefer a setup like this. Significantly faster. And then we currently don't have any ways to auto output, which is exactly what I am about to solve. So we're going to entangle block our furnaces. And I know that sounds a little weird, and like I said, you saw that was a little bit possibly overkill, but I don't think it's that bad. So we're going to take a look at this one and make sure that that works. Yep, it works exactly as expected. So now all three of our furnaces are bound, so now we have more sides to a block, and we can keep this looking pretty, which is kind of the biggest reason that I ever run out of block sides. It's not so much that I've run into a technical issue, it's that I've run into a aesthetic issue more often than not. So yeah, hopefully this should be a little bit better for our crafting. And if we look at Reborn Storage, we're still working on stuff. We're still working through a bunch of silicon backlog, I'm expecting. But if we wanted to grab a bunch of glass, grab me a stack of that, and started crafting it, I just want to see how we doing over here. Exceptionally. We're doing quite exceptionally. So yeah, like I said, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode because this just required a bunch of planning and kind of, you know, build up work. One last thing I want to mention before I do wrap up the episode. Over here in our cute little apiary and greenhouse, I did have to... Oh, I still have to cover these. I've been forgetting to do that. I did, since I'm making these burgers now, I did have to swap out the rice for onions and the... What was the other thing I swapped out? Oh, this was carrots. I swapped out carrots for onions and rice for tomatoes so that we can more infinitely make the hamburgers. Not completely infinitely. Obviously, we don't have beef automated yet, but... one thing that I never really did in the Enigmatica pack that I think I should do a little more often, because I'm always so afraid, but with compact machines I have less reason to be, is we're going to do some automated husbandry. So we'll be able to do automatic mob killing as well, using some of the more advanced mods, and we'll get to all that stuff as time progresses. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.